Let's get right into it. Number 10. The Island of the Dolls. Picture this. You're rowing your little boat down a canal in Mexico City, enjoying the vibe, and suddenly, bam, you come across a tree covered in decapitated baby dolls. Arms missing, eyeballs gouged, some of them half melted from the sun. It's like Barbie had a nuclear war with Cabbage Patch Kids and nobody won. This delightful nightmare is called La Isla de las Muñecas, or the Island of the Dolls. And it is exactly what it sounds like. Hundreds of dolls nailed to trees, fences, and poles, rotting plastic eyes staring back at you with all the warmth of a DMV worker at 4:59 p.m. Now here's the creepy part. This wasn't just some edgy art installation. It started with one guy, Don Julian Santana Barrera. According to the story, he found the drowned body of a little girl in the canal nearby. Then a doll floated up. He took it as a sign that the girl's spirit was trapped. His solution? Hang up dolls everywhere to keep her company, because obviously nothing comforts a tormented spirit like a chorus of mutilated eyeless toys. But Julian didn't stop at one or two dolls. Oh no, he kept collecting them for decades. Every time he found another doll in the trash or floating down the canal, up it went on the tree. Pretty soon the whole island was covered in this post-apocalyptic Toys R Us vibe. The kicker? Julian himself eventually drowned in the same canal where he claimed to find the little girl, which means you now have two dead people haunting an island of dolls. That's double the ghost power. People say at night the dolls whisper, move their heads, or even blink. Which makes sense because if my afterlife involved being surrounded by 1,000 crusty Chucky knockoffs, I'd probably try to freak people out too. Science naturally has nothing on this. There's no paper in the Journal of Creepy Island Studies explaining why dolls randomly turn their heads. The logical explanations are just wind, water, and decay. But if you're ever in Mexico, you can still take a boat out there. Just be prepared. Those dolls have been staring for decades, and they're not about to stop. Basically, the Island of the Dolls is the Uncanny Valley's final boss level.
Number 9. The Door to Hell. Deep in the Turkmenistan desert, there's a giant hole in the ground that has been on fire for over 50 years. They call it the Door to Hell. And honestly, that feels like underselling it. Imagine walking across the sand, minding your own business, and suddenly you stumble upon a crater that looks like Satan left his stovetop on. It's 230 feet wide, glowing orange, belching out flames and toxic gas like it's auditioning for a Michael Bay movie. Here's the backstory. In 1971, Soviet scientists were drilling for natural gas. They hit a pocket, the ground collapsed, and a massive sinkhole opened up. Methane started leaking everywhere, and since methane is not exactly great for human lungs, or, the whole not exploding thing, they decided to light it on fire, thinking it would burn off in a few weeks. Surprise, it's still going, happily cooking the desert air half a century later. Now, science can tell you the how here. Methane burns, and as long as there's gas, it won't stop. But the why of it still feels otherworldly. People have reported standing at the edge and feeling like they're staring straight into an alien dimension. The heat waves shimmer, the sound of roaring fire fills the silence of the desert, and if you're unlucky, the wind will blast you in the face with a whiff of burning earth. The creep factor? Nobody knows when or if it will go out. It could burn for another 50 years, or collapse tomorrow and swallow up a few more unlucky tourists. Standing at the edge is like looking into a reminder that the ground beneath you is just a thin crust over Earth's burping, fiery stomach. And the Turkmen government, they've thought about extinguishing it, but hey, why kill your country's creepiest tourist attraction? So yeah, science can explain methane, but not the part where your brain insists this is literally hell. Standing next to it, you're basically marshmallows waiting to happen.
Number 8. The Hoya Forest. Romania has Dracula. That alone should be enough for a spooky tourism industry. But apparently Transylvania said, hold my garlic, because they also have the Hoya Baciu Forest, often dubbed the Bermuda Triangle of Transylvania, which sounds like a Scooby-Doo episode waiting to happen. Here's the deal. This forest is notorious for UFO sightings, ghost encounters, and people vanishing like it's a Costco sample on a Saturday. The trees themselves don't even look right. Many grow in strange, twisted spirals as if nature itself was trying to cosplay Tim Burton. The creepiest part is the clearing. In the middle of the forest, there's this perfectly circular patch where no trees will grow. Soil tests show nothing unusual, but plants just refuse to stick around. Scientists? Totally baffled. Paranormal enthusiasts? They're screaming aliens faster than Giorgio Tsoukalos on the History Channel. People who enter the forest report nausea, anxiety, the feeling of being watched, and sometimes straight-up burns or scratches with no explanation. Equipment malfunctions constantly. Cameras glitch, batteries drain, which means if you go in, not only might you disappear, but your phone will die before you can post a spooky TikTok about it. Science shrugs its shoulders here. Some suggest magnetic anomalies, others blame carbon monoxide pockets. But the truth is, nobody can fully explain why a forest clearing just refuses to follow the rules of biology. If nature were a video game, Hoya Baciu is the bugged-out map you're not supposed to wander into. And if Romania wanted to up its tourism, they don't even need to market Dracula anymore. Just say, come to Transylvania. Our forests delete people.
Number 7, the Devil's Kettle. All right, let's talk about water doing something so weird it makes scientists want to throw their clipboards into the river. In northern Minnesota, there's a waterfall called the Devil's Kettle. One half of the river flows normally, tumbling down the rocks like every other respectable waterfall. The other half, it plunges into a giant hole in the rock and vanishes. Like, poof, gone. People have dumped in dye, ping pong balls, even GPS trackers, and none of it comes out downstream. It's like nature installed a giant garbage disposal and forgot to hook up the plumbing. For decades, geologists scratch their heads. Water doesn't just disappear, it has to go somewhere. Underground tunnels, caves, aquifers, something. But no trace ever showed up. Which meant for years, the only logical explanation was, the Earth is trolling us. Recently, scientists proposed a maybe solution. The water rejoins the river downstream in a hidden way they can't see. But even with advanced testing, the mystery remains muddy. Locals say you can still stand there, watch thousands of gallons vanish every second, and feel your brain short-circuit. From a psychological standpoint, this place hits you with the same uncanny dread as a magic trick you can't figure out. Your brain screams, "Water obeys rules," and then the waterfall says, "Not today." It's basically the Houdini of geology. And if hell had a plumbing system, this would definitely be the drain.
Number 6, the Skeleton Lake. Nothing says cozy hiking trip like finding hundreds of skeletons casually chilling around a frozen lake. Welcome to Rupkund, a high-altitude lake in India, where every summer when the ice melts, bones start poking out of the snow like it's Halloween in July. We're not talking one or two unlucky hikers, we're talking over 300 sets of remains. Men, women, children, dating back more than 1,000 years. Some with flesh still attached, preserved by the ice. It's like nature made its own mass grave museum. The question is, how did they all die here? Initial theories were wild. Maybe an epidemic, maybe a ritual sacrifice, maybe an ancient battle. But then scientists examined the skulls and found something weird. They all had massive blunt force trauma, but not like from weapons. The pattern suggested hailstones. Yes, apparently one freak storm with baseball-sized hail could have slaughtered hundreds of people at once, mid-March, and dumped them all around the lake. But the mystery doesn't end there. DNA testing revealed the skeletons aren't even from the same time period. Some are from the 9th century, others from the 19th. So it wasn't just one event. The lake basically became a magnet for death across centuries, like a cosmic calendar reminder, it's Rupkund season again. And of course, Locals whisper legends of angry mountain goddesses punishing trespassers. Because if a frozen lake full of skeletons doesn't scream haunted, nothing does. Science tried to give us an answer, but all it really confirmed is nature occasionally plays dodgeball with human skulls.
Number 5. The crooked forest. Now, imagine walking into a forest and realizing every single tree decided to bend at a 90-degree angle before growing straight up again. That's Poland's crooked forest, about 400 pine trees that look like they got drunk halfway through growing. Each trunk bends at the base, curving sharply northward before shooting up like a normal tree. It's not just one or two, it's hundreds, all bending in the same direction, like some kind of botanical conga line. So what happened? One theory is that humans did it intentionally, maybe bending the trees in their early growth to create curved wood for shipbuilding or furniture, which, okay, sure, but then why stop halfway? Why not harvest them? Another idea is heavy snow weighed them down as saplings, permanently warping their shape. But if snow was the culprit, why don't all the forests nearby look like Salvador Dali's sketchbook? Standing among them, you get that unsettling wrongness vibe. Trees are supposed to grow straight. It's wired into our brains as a sign of normalcy. But here, it feels like the whole forest is mid-snap into some weird dimension, like you just walked onto the set of Stranger Things. Science has guesses, but no confirmed answer. The crooked forest just sits there, happily defying geometry, while tourists take photos pretending they're in a Dr. Seuss book gone wrong. Basically, it's the kind of place that makes you wonder if trees have an inside joke we'll never get.
Number 4. The Bennington Triangle. You've probably heard of the Bermuda Triangle. Planes vanish, compasses freak out, boats sink. It's a whole thing. But did you know Vermont has its own knockoff version? It's called the Bennington Triangle. And instead of swallowing ships, it devours hikers. Between 1945 and 1950, at least 5 people vanished without a trace while wandering the Green Mountains. We're not talking lost and later found. We're talking never came back, no body, no gear, nothing. One guy disappeared in broad daylight while leading a group. He walked ahead a little bit, turned a corner, and poof, gone. That's the kind of thing that makes you stare suspiciously at bushes for the rest of your life. Some explanations get tossed around: serial killer, wild animals, or just dumb luck in dense wilderness. But locals whisper about curses and Native American legends of spirits guarding the land. Others say it's magnetic anomalies messing with compasses, making people wander in circles until nature finishes the job. The eerie part? Even people who didn't vanish reported strange feelings, overwhelming dread, being watched, or suddenly forgetting where they were. Psychologists would call it environmental stress mixed with paranoia. But let's be honest, your brain doesn't care about logical labels when the forest feels like it wants to eat you. Science can't explain how multiple people vanish in the same region without leaving a breadcrumb. The Bennington Triangle is like a plot hole in reality, where humans occasionally just get deleted. If you ever go hiking there, maybe bring a buddy, or 10, and wear something neon. Not that it'll stop a glitch in the Matrix, but hey, it might give a Bigfoot a good laugh before you disappear. Number 3, the Eternal Flame Falls. Okay, picture this. You're hiking through a quiet forest in New York. You come across a peaceful waterfall, and wait a second, is that fire? Yes, there's a flame burning right underneath the water. Welcome to Eternal Flame Falls, where a small natural gas leak keeps a flame lit inside a tiny grotto at the base of the cascade. Water tumbles down, fire keeps burning, and your brain instantly screams, "This shouldn't be possible." It's like the elements made a bet and forgot to invite logic. Scientists originally thought the flame was fueled by ancient shale gas slowly seeping out, but more recent studies suggest the rock formations there aren't hot enough to generate that gas naturally. Translation: even the geologists are shrugging. They can tell you how fire and water can coexist in theory, but they can't fully explain why this particular spot manages to do it so perfectly. For visitors, the experience is a sensory glitch. Water equals wet, fire equals burn. But here, the two hold hands like best friends, making you feel like you just stumbled into a fantasy movie set. Some locals even consider it spiritual, a natural reminder that opposites can coexist. Others just think it's Mother Nature showing off. Either way, it's the kind of place that sticks in your brain forever. Because once you've seen fire happily thriving under a waterfall, every campfire you build feels like it's not trying hard enough.
Number 2. The Zone of Silence. Deep in the Chihuahua Desert of Mexico lies a place where radios stop working, compasses spin uselessly, and phones might as well be expensive bricks. It's called the Zone of Silence, and it's basically Earth's version of turning airplane mode on without permission. The area gained notoriety in the 1970s after a U.S. missile test went wrong and a rocket crashed there, leading to conspiracies that the government knew the zone had magnetic anomalies and was testing weird tech. UFO enthusiasts went wild with the idea that aliens use the zone as a landing pad, because of course they do. Visitors often report strange lights in the sky, mysterious balls of fire, and sudden disorientation. Farmers even claim that mutant plants and animals have popped up around the region, though science has never confirmed that. The practical explanation is magnetic deposits in the ground interfering with signals. But why here, specifically? And why does it act like a dead zone on steroids? Still fuzzy. What's extra creepy is how eerily quiet it feels. No buzzing insects, no chirping birds, just silence. Your brain, which relies on background noise to know you're not alone, starts panicking when it hears absolutely nothing. That's when paranoia kicks in, and every cactus looks like it's planning your demise. Science calls it magnetic interference. Your gut calls it aliens hiding behind that rock. Either way, the Zone of Silence is proof that sometimes Earth just decides to mess with the Wi-Fi of reality.
Number 1. The Overtone Bridge. Let's wrap this nightmare tour up with a bridge in Scotland, where dogs keep jumping off. Yep, you heard that right. Not people, dogs. Happy little tails wagging one moment, and the next, Fido yeets himself over the side like he's auditioning for Romeo and Juliet, Canine Edition. The Overtone Bridge near Dumbarton has been nicknamed the Dog Suicide Bridge because since the 1950s, more than 600 dogs have leapt to their deaths there. Even weirder, it's usually the same spot on the same side of the bridge, and often when the dogs survive the fall, they climb back up and try again, which is nightmare fuel for anyone who thought dogs only ever did goofy, wholesome things. So what's going on? Animal behaviorists suggest that the bridge's location might be blasting dogs' noses with a sensory overload. Specifically, the scent of mink living in the area might be irresistible to hunting breeds, pulling them forward in a frenzy until, oops, gravity. But not everyone buys it, especially since humans who walk the bridge often report feeling a strange heaviness or dread, like the place itself has a bad vibe. Locals lean into the supernatural explanations. They say the bridge is haunted, cursed, or sitting on some kind of spiritual fault line. There's even a story about a man who threw his baby off the bridge in the 1990s, claiming the child was possessed, which, doesn't exactly help the "this bridge is fine" PR campaign. From a scientific angle, there's no definitive answer, just a lot of dead dogs and uncomfortable theories, which makes Overtone one of the creepiest places on Earth, not because it's haunted by ghosts, but because it's haunted by a question. Why here and why dogs? Until science figures it out, the bridge remains the world's least fun walk for man's best friend. That's all for today. I'll be making similar videos in the future. Subscribe to see them.